Welcome back to the Medium Cool Show. Today we're going to talk about some movies. We're going to talk about a couple movies from the 70s, and then we're going to talk about one movie from 2010. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's do the one from 2010 first, because that's the first one we saw, right?
Okay. You want to introduce it then?
Yeah. I don't know the director's name.
Oh my god. So, David Michôd.
Yeah, David Michôd. So we watched Animal Kingdom by David Michôd from 2010. We had previously seen The Rover, and we liked that a lot.
Yeah.
And we're big Guy Pearce fans. We liked his David Michôd style.
The Rover's good. I recommend it. It's very cool, like kind of post-apocalyptic, but like not like Mad Max, more realistic, gritty.
Yeah.
Like the more of like what it would actually probably be like.
Yeah,
you know?
post-apocalyptic, lonely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like everything's like very somber in that movie, and I like that a lot. We had heard of Animal Kingdom just through the grapevine. Like it's always been something kind of on both of our peripheral, I think.
Yeah, but I always saw it like recommended in my IMDb like suggestion stuff, and then I know it was David Michôd and like Adam Arkapaw shot it and stuff, and it's kind of part of that like sort of Australian wave in like the 2010s of kind of like this collective of like filmmakers and creatives coming together to make these sort of like pretty gritty Australian films, like where it's only like this could only happen, like this story could only be told in this way in Australia type vibe, you know? Like you got like this movie, the Snowtown Murders, you know, like The Rover.
I feel like Lake Mungo too, like that whole like it's part of that wave too of like just like independent Australian filmmakers like really like coming out.
Kind of like a new wave, you know, even though Australia had like a new wave in the 70s, but anyway, Animal Kingdom, written directed by David Michôd, and it's based on some real life crime shit that happened in the 70s or 80s in Australia.
Yeah.
And no, it was always on my peripheral because I actually heard a lot of good things about it, and Quentin Tarantino said it was his third favorite film of the year 2010.
Like he said his first two were.
I know one of them is Toy Story, and I don't know what the other one was. I forgot. Maybe it was I think it was a Social Network, actually.
Probably, yeah.
Social Network, Toy Story, and Animal Kingdom. So that's like pretty cool. But I actually do like this movie. It's a very rough movie. It's not exactly uplifting. It's pretty gross, like you said. Like it kind of makes you feel gross, you know.
Yeah, you don't feel like good at the end of it.
No.
You know. It's one of those movies that like slowly just beats you down over time.
Yeah.
And there's no break from that.
Yeah.
You know? It's brutal. I feel like sometimes some of the things that happened in the movie took me out of the movie a little bit. Where I feel like it's almost brutal for brutal's sake.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is crazy that this was made outside of like Hollywood, because this feels very Hollywood in a way. Like Hollywood like kind of like had its fingers on it.
Some melodramatic parts you're talking about, I think, that like haven't aged so well.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really, really well done for like an indie film, and there's a lot of like basically we're following this character, this like I don't know if he's maybe like 16, 17, 18-year-old kid who basically just like his mom dies of an overdose of heroin, so he has to go live with his aunt, who's
his
like
grandma.
His grandma, who's kind of like the matriarch of this sort of crime family, and her sons are like Joel Edgerton, and also Ben Mendelsohn is also a son as well. So he's living with his uncles who are part of like literally like a crime family. They do robberies.
Yeah, he's got 4 uncles, and all of them are like somehow involved in crime. The whole family is like a bunch of fucking tweaker, unpredictable people you would not want to be around. It's like I call it Australian white trash, because that's what they are. Dude.
They're definitely white trash.
Australian white trash to a T, and they're like violent and I don't know.
Yeah, they're like violent, and I feel like Joel Edgerton's character is a little bit more level-headed though than the others and stuff, and that he's kind of like almost trying to make things right after they're figuring out like this whole like armed robbery unit is kind of that they're not going to be able to basically do robberies anymore, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, because they're all under surveillance. All these bank robbers at the time in Australia are getting shot by the police. Like the police have like a shoot on sight kind of policy in effect. So all these guys are just going down, not even going to jail, like going to the grave.
And it seems like everything is going fine until one of the brothers returns after being on the run.
Yeah.
And he's played by Ben Mendelsohn, and then when he arrives into the movie, everything just starts going downhill because of him. Everything goes wrong because of him, and this kid is basically like stuck in the middle of this sort of like crime underworld. I mean, he has no other choice basically, just besides like living with his grandma, and then everything pretty much goes to shit.
Yeah.
And we have Guy Pearce is introduced as like the main detective on the case, you know, and he's trying to kind of not, I guess, like sort of like manipulate the little kid to get like information, but also he's like, dude, like you can get out of this if you just like help me out. Like there's not a road you should go down, which is kind of like stereotypical, but he basically explains to him the title of the movie in a kind of more of like he's trying to like persuade him to not go down this road. He talks about like everything is in balance in the world, and like there's predators and prey type, kind of like a, you know, we kind of know what he's talking about. But
yeah, we
he
know
says
what
he says it in like a different, he tells the same story in a different way.
Yeah.
Which is what this movie is. It's kind of like, it's not about like it's not like necessarily a crime movie, but it's almost like after a crime movie, like it's almost like the post. It's a different way of like telling like kind of a crime family.
Yeah, it's like the fallout of all the years of doing crime, you know. Yeah, it's cool. There's certain things that I didn't like with it, like you mentioned the melodramatics of it. That's one thing that like I really had a problem with.
Yeah.
Even Guy Pearce's speech, which it should be like a pivotal point for the movie, right? It really like captures the audience's attention. I feel like that speech is pretty lackluster. I feel like there's certain things that are like very dated looking at it from like a 2023 perspective. Back at the time, like I probably would have been like, that's so sick that at the end this cop pulls a gun on the kid and he doesn't even flinch when he pulls the trigger, you know? But like now I'm like, that's pretty fucking cheesy. You know?
But it's like this kid goes through, like, he fucking loses everyone, bro.
He does. He loses everyone, and it's because of his
like,
family.
There's like innocent people who he loses because who didn't do anything wrong besides the fact that like they were like involved in like his fucking like girlfriend, bro.
Yeah.
And like her family is like a normal ass.
That's
family.
like so sad too. It's like you
Dude,
really
that was
get to know.
sad. That was so sad. And like the thing is, he like never cries until like near the end of the movie, and like he's finally like probably releasing all this grief and shit. And it's just like so.
Like when his mom dies, he's like looking at the TV screen. Like I can tell like that first half of the movie really fucking draws you into it. You're really so sucked into like all of it, and the writing's so good. It's like, you know, I can just imagine writing it and showing it to someone and being like, wow, this is really good, because it's just like, boy, his mom dies, won't look away from TV. He writes that whole speech about like, my whole family's scared, and she like says the dynamics of the family, and you're really like introduced to everyone. I'm fucking sucked in within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, all the characters are great, and this movie was made for like $1.5 million, bro. Like it's an indie movie. Like whatever they were to pull off, especially with all those actors who probably took like really small like amount of money to do this movie, because they're like, oh yeah, we gotta like support like Australian film, you know, like Joel Edgerton, Ben Mendelsohn, and Guy Pearce. Like that's a lot, you know. And you know they probably only did it for like
a huge cast,
yeah, they probably didn't do it for much money. Like they probably just had like a day rate or something. It probably was like $5,000 to $10,000, I swear.
Yeah,
for like, you know,
which is crazy for them to take, but they like made this movie too.
Like,
Ben Mendelsohn's performance is so fucking good in this.
It's probably the best one.
Yeah, it's like he's so unpredictable and so crazy that you're just like, every time he's on the screen, I'm like, what's he gonna fucking do? Like, this sleazy guy.
Yeah, and he's fucking he falls into the role, like, because when you first see it, you're like, oh, Ben Mendelsohn, and but then you forget that it's the actor, and because he's just like, it just becomes like this sleazy fucking
dude, I fucking love him, dude. He's such a good actor. Everything he's in, he's like,
he's a great actor, dude. He's an amazing actor, and like that's kind of why we wanted to watch it, was because we'd seen The Rover, and we saw like, I'm like, dude, there's so many actors in this, like we have to see this, you know. Like I felt like we were like, we're gonna like it. Did I like it as much as I like thought I would? Probably not, but I still actually really like this movie.
Yeah, like we were talking about it, I like The Rover more, just a little bit.
Yeah,
it's more my speed, and I feel like it leaves me with a little more what I want from a movie. But this is still really good.
Yeah, this is like
amazing. Like and the way it plays out is so unique too. Like it really, even though I have like qualms with it, like it still has stuck with me for like these past 2 weeks. I still like find myself thinking about it. You know. I think that's a sign of a good movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think about it, and I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend it. I mean, like obviously the Rover is the better film, but he had like way more resources. It was like one of the first A24 movies that they did. It's just like more concise. And this in the Animal Kingdom, it's like they're like working with like some real constraints, and they really pulled it off. Like a very compelling
Yeah.
movie, I would
And
say.
the ending's so satisfying too.
Hmm.
I really like that ending. I knew like
Yeah,
kind of that's where it was heading. Like I kind of like could piece together like what he was gonna do, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And once it happens, it's so satisfying.
yeah, for real.
Yeah. Animal Kingdom. Check it out. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.